Greetings all. Today we're going to talk a little bit about a story I saw on Drudge today. This came out yesterday apparently. Indiana town without a police department after every Bunker Hill officer quits. So what we have here is they're asked to do immoral, unethical, and illegal things by the town council, and they got fed up with it, and the entire office, the entire police department quit. Kudos to these guys. There's been a thing since about the mid 90s or so where they're dedicated to getting rid of pretty much every good police officer out there, and replacing them with 22-year-olds straight out of the military, pretending that they're still in Afghanistan. 22-year-old guys that they can pay the rock bottom price for, the minimum you could pay a cop, and get them in there that'll just do what they're told. And that's why a lot of people hate the police officers, because, probably at least 2/3 of them are kind of dirtbags. With really no moral qualms with anything. And that's why people don't generally like the police. I'm sure there's good cops out there, but by and large, the people want to replace them. Especially in the cities. You go out into the rural areas, there's probably only one or two police officers, and no one's going to worry about that. But Bunker Hill's a reasonable sized town. They had half a dozen cops or something like that, and they all quit for it. Kudos to these guys. But they're going to get replaced by 22-year-old Marines fresh out of the military, I'm sure, that will do whatever the city council will have them do. How this relates back to Christianity is, has your job ever asked you to do something that's immoral or illegal? How many officers are out there that consider themselves Christian that are asked to do immoral things all the time, or whatever business you're in? I mean, should you be in that business if you're doing immoral things on a daily basis and getting paid for it? Or illegal things? Anyways, let's just watch the story, and then we'll make a couple comments here, and that'll be that.
With no police officers, not one. Every single officer walked off the job. So what's happening in the town of Bunker Hill? Fox 59's Alexis McAdams has more tonight. Alexis.
There's not a single police officer here at the town of Bunker Hill Police Department tonight after they all submitted resignation letters, citing reasons saying that they were treated unfairly and also reportedly were asked to do illegal things. Inside of the quiet and now empty town of Bunker Hill Police Department, there's a big controversy brewing that could end with a lawsuit. Their entire police department quit, blaming the town council.
We've had issues with the town board. There was some activity there that I felt like they were serving their own agenda.
Michael Tomlinson has served as town marshal of Bunker Hill for 4 years until last night when he and 4 other officers handed over these resignation letters to the council, telling them they've had enough.
Wouldn't communicate with us or the officers. They kept scaling things back.
In their resignation letters, the officers accuse council members of asking them to do illegal, unethical, and immoral things. They cited examples like asking police to run background checks on other town councilors to find their criminal history. The officers also claimed they were threatened when they said no. Another issue they brought up in the letter, their safety. The officers tell us they were all forced to share one set of body armor, putting their lives on the line while they're out making arrests and serving warrants.
I don't want to send someone out there with bad body armor, so I would take mine off and provide it to the other officers. And I told them that we have to provide this. There's an IC code that explains that. It says the town has to provide that body armor.
On top of all of that, Thomason tells us his resignation was personal. He was diagnosed with cancer last year, but when he was ready to go back to work in May, Thomason says they would only allow him to work part-time. He blames the town councilors and plans to file a lawsuit against them.
They came at me and said that it's costing the town way too much money because of my insurance, and they said we're going to take you down to part-time.
Thomason and other officers say they did not want to step down, but feel they had to. For now, the town is relying on outside help as they search for new officers.
I know that they are scrambling, and they've contacted some other officers that do not want the position.
Town council.
I bet they probably also contacted the officers that were fired for bad conduct, or the people that they let go because they wouldn't do what they asked them to do. When he said they were cutting back, you noticed the picture. There was like 7 or 8 police officers in the picture, but there was only 5 by the time this story happened when they all resigned.
President Brock Spear tells me tonight that they will end up releasing a statement about all of the officers resigning, but that won't be coming out today. But they do tell me right now, since they have no officers left in the town, the Miami County Sheriff's Department is handling all calls for service to this area. Reporting tonight at the Bunker Hill Police Department, I'm Alexis McAdams.
So what the town council's, their statement that they're going to say is like, oh, these cops are holding the town hostage by doing this, and they're trying to strong arm us, and they're jeopardizing the town's safety by their actions, their selfish actions. That's the only option that they have, is to attack these police officers. That's all that they got. There's got to be something going on. When was the last time like an entire group quits? Can you imagine everybody at your job quitting one day because they were asked to do something immoral or unethical? You know, everybody. You got Edward Snowden guy who releases a bunch of stuff. He's one guy out of how many analysts that he worked with at Homeland Security or whatever? Where are all these other people? They're just continuing on doing unethical and immoral things in their job. Yep. And these guys wouldn't do it. Kudos to them. Kudos to them. I hope that everything works out for these guys and they get better, move on to bigger and better things. I mean, these things need to be praised. What? Police officer that has morals? Oh, well, we got to cut him out of here. We got to force him to quit. We got to replace him with a 22-year-old straight out of Afghanistan. You know, 22-year-old Marine. That's what we got to do. Then we can give him $10 an hour instead of, 20. Yup. So anyways, thought it was an interesting story. What do you guys think? With that, we're going to be out of here.